Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden. It is Wednesday, April 24th, 2013. Wednesday, April 24th, 2013. Thank you so much for logging in. Thank you so much for tuning in. However you're doing it, I'm glad you're here. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden. I bring to the table 24 years of clinical experience in the practice of licensed and regulated naturopathic medicine, and we talk about on this show most things holistic, and this is an important point to ponder. I don't know if any of you were listening, but last night I had the interesting experience of being interviewed on the Underground Wellness, radio program. It's an internet broadcast program, Underground Wellness, and it was the first time in my professional career. It was the first time in my professional career that someone had the cojones to intimate to my face, well, actually not to my face, to their keyboard, I guess, to their telephone, and then to me indirectly, that the naturopathic profession is filled with quacks. First time, actually, I've ever heard someone utter those two words. I've seen it written, but it takes a certain amount of chutzpah in order to be able to say stuff like that out loud in real time. The first time in my professional career that I have heard the word quack and naturopath verbalized in the same sentence, and it made me take pause because in the work that I've been doing, especially for the last 5 years, the majority of the lectures that I give, the majority of the webcasts that I give, the majority of my listenership are people who are already into the light, so to speak, people who are already into the world of holistic medicine. And you get spoiled when you're in that world all of the time. You start to think that, well, this is the way that everybody in the world thinks, that this is the way that most of it is going, that we're slowly starting to gain the majority here. And really, I don't even think about these concepts of majority or minority. We just tell it like it is. But last night's experience gave me it was a wake-up call, right? Because there are still millions of people in North America who are so much in the dark about the stuff that they didn't know. I mean, they don't even understand the concept that there's stuff that they didn't know. People are very, as a majority, I don't know if it's a majority, but there are lots of people who are still very much prejudiced and, old-fashioned and in the dark and out of touch with, well, can I say it out loud here? Yes, reality, out of touch with reality. The simple fact of the matter is, so let me make my position very clear. Let me make my position very clear once and for all. Medicine is a vast domain. All of medical knowledge is a vast domain. There's tons of stuff, right, that we don't know about medical science. There's tons of stuff that we don't know about chemistry, about quantum physics, about every field of science. Well, it's the same with medicine. There's a ton of stuff in the domain of medical science that we didn't know. But let's just leave that aside for a moment. Inside of the domain of the stuff about medical science that we know, here's how it is. Medical doctors are trained in one small piece of the pie of medical science. Naturopathic physicians are trained in a larger piece of the pie of medical science. Chiropractors, osteopaths, homeopaths, herbalists, Ayurvedic practitioners, traditional Chinese medical practitioners, acupuncturists, etc., are all trained in their own individual piece of the pie of medical science. Now, everybody has their own particular viewpoint, their own vantage point, and everybody is tied together in their philosophical constructs through science. Because science argues that, if you can prove the effectiveness of something, that in order for something to be valid, if something is in fact true, well, let me say it another way. Science argues that in the material world that we inhabit, there are things that are true and there are things that are false. There are things that are true and there are things that are false. And the scientific application is designed to uncover the stuff that is true, to prove and affirm the stuff that is true, and then to move on. Now, inside of the stuff that we don't know, or that we know about medical science, we are all in the same boat as far as being concerned with what's real and what's not real, what's actually the cause of arthritis, what's the cause of heart disease, how do you fix it, what's the best way to fix it, what biochemical mechanism needs to be stimulated, what are we going to do, how are we going to do it, are we going to do it with an acupuncture needle, are we going to do it with homeopathy, are we going to do it with medical nutrition, are we going to do it with manipulation of the spine, what are we going to do, and once we do it, how does it work, and how do we know that it works like that, right? This is how it is. Now, in the field of medical science, the MDs have monopolized the theater of medicine for the last 100 years in industrialized nations in the world. They have monopolized the medical theater. And because of their monopolization, they have kept everybody else out. They have kept legally everybody else out of the game. So the MDs have legislated themselves into the first place of medicine in the world, and they have kept themselves there by glad-handing politicians to pass laws to make it illegal for any other medical practitioner to practice, right? And then the pharmaceutical industry props them up, gives them massive amounts of money. Why? Because the MDs bring them business. Medical doctors, in their philosophical construct, in their application of medicine, don't cure anything. They are not trained in how to cure things. They're only trained in how to manage symptoms with drugs. That is the beginning and the end of their training. They're trained how to manage symptoms with drugs, which is good for the drug companies. Very good for the drug companies, not so good for you and me, except, of course, you know, when we need a tooth drilled, and thank God for Novocaine, when we've had our leg broken in two because we fell off of the roof, heaven forbid, or we had a skiing accident, heaven forbid, or the leg got blown off by a landmine in Iraq, heaven forbid. When there's trauma to the body, the MDs can march in and fix that. Again, thank God for Novocaine and the sterile technique. But because the MDs, who, like everybody else, own just one small subset of the greater field of the stuff that we know about medical science, because they have monopolized the industry exclusively, and because they have gone out of their way with jackbooted thuggery to keep everybody else out of the game, our health in industrialized nations has, for the last 100 years, been completely controlled by the MDs. Been completely controlled by the MDs. And while the MDs have been completely in control of medicine in the world, everything has gotten worse. And it's when it's adjusted for population growth, even statistically, arthritis is getting worse, type 2 diabetes is getting worse, high blood pressure is getting worse, infertility is getting worse, autism skyrocketing, Alzheimer's skyrocketing. Depression, not a cure in sight, and don't even get me started about cancer, because cancer is a big bad voodoo daddy. And if you think chopping off somebody's breasts is a cure for cancer, well, you've got another thing coming. You know, if there was an epidemic of knee arthritis, well, you could make the argument that chopping off people's legs, well, hey, that's a cure for arthritis, right? Well, no, it's not really a cure. But, you know, it'll keep it from spreading. But this is what's happened while we have let the MDs drive the bus. Everything is getting worse. Now, your medical doctor may be the sweetest person in the world. Your medical doctor may work for Doctors Without Borders and donate their time to poor children around the world and do cleft lip and cleft palate surgery for free and feed the homeless. They might do that. Even if it is irrelevant as to the personal character and the personal nature of the MD. The MD, by virtue of their training, has aligned themselves with a particular philosophical interpretation of the world of science. It's called reductionism. And because MDs are trained in a reductionistic method, even if they don't use drugs, even if they start to get their feet wet with nutrition, even if they start to get their feet wet with vitamins and minerals and the application of herbs, they deliver those treatments through the lens of reductionism. And when you deliver treatments for chronic diseases through a reductionistic lens, they must fail. It does not matter how well-intentioned the MD is. It does not matter how politically correct or socially compatible their out-of-office operations are. The only thing that matters is the philosophy of medicine that they have been trained in. Reductionism doesn't work in relationship to chronic disease. And since the MDs have owned the theater of medicine, since the MDs have been in charge to the exclusion of everybody else, and now they did that on purpose, by the way. They drew first blood. Our health conditions are getting worse and worse and worse, and it's not because the public doesn't know how to eat correctly. It's not because of crap in the air and crap in the food and crap in the water and chemtrails and GMO foods. It's not because of any of that. It's because the therapeutics that the MDs bring to bear on the treatment of chronic disease do not work. But because they monopolize the industry, because all that we know is MDs, you know, this is all that we've been taught culturally, we give them a pass. Because we have let them convince us that, oh, medicine is a complicated, sophisticated process. And ladies and gentlemen, it is not. Surgery is a complicated, sophisticated process. Healing is easy. I'm going to tell you how to do that when we come back. This is Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. Sherlock Holmes said it best. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever is left, however improbable, must be the truth. And this is the way that it is with our situation in the free world here in the 21st century. The reason that our health care is in crisis, the reason that the economies of the United Kingdom and the European Union and Canada and the United States are being crippled by health care costs is because MDs are in charge and MDs don't practice health care. That's why. MDs practice symptom-suppressive disease management with prescription medications. And medical doctors are they're not really even doctors anymore. They're just shills for the pharmaceutical company because all they do is give out drugs. That's it. Until things get so bad that surgery is necessary. And also let me make one more point of clarification. Nothing wrong with drugs. Drugs are like guns. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. When you use a drug to suppress symptoms and just to manage the illness, nothing gets cured. Now, let's say that we were pirates, right, back in the day. Arr, pirates, me matey. And we had scurvy. And scurvy is a vitamin C deficiency. It's a deficiency in vitamin C, ascorbic acid. Now, the medical doctors, and let's say we were back in pirate days and we had scurvy, or let's say that we were pirates and we were transported through the Time Lord's TARDIS into the present day, and we went to Mayo Clinic, and we show up at Mayo Clinic and we have scurvy. But the doctor that's treating us never read a book on medical nutrition, neither did their colleagues. They have no idea what we've got, and they see this nasty skin condition. I mean, it's nasty, and they make the wrong diagnosis. So they don't know that it's scurvy. So what are they going to do? They're going to throw drug after drug after drug after drug after drug, do surgical procedures, do skin grafts, do all kinds of stuff in order to try to handle the situation. But their therapeutics must ultimately fail. And the more therapeutics they do, the more expensive their treatment becomes because somebody's got to pay for it, right? It's either us or the government. Usually it's us. when all that we really needed to do in order to fix ourselves, and then we die, because scurvy will kill you, but it kills you slowly, and it is a horrible death. When all that we really needed to do was drink some orange juice, suck on a couple of lemons, put some lime in our rum and coke. Remember, we're pirates. This is all that we needed to do, was put vitamin C back into the body, and it goes away. It goes away. Well, with chronic disease, it's the same thing. My colleague, Dr. Wallach, his research showed that the majority of chronic diseases, things like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, congestive heart failure, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, insomnia, anxiety and panic attacks, heartburn, gastrointestinal reflux disease, all of these things and so many more are not caused by bad genes. They're not caused by crap in the air, crap in the water, crap in the food. They're not caused by chemtrails or genetically modified foods. They're not. They're like scurvy. They are nutrient deficiency diseases. They're nutrient deficiencies. And it is impossible to fix a nutrient deficiency with a drug. And what happens when you try? The bill skyrockets, the people get worse, and then they die. But because the MDs are only trained in the reductionistic method, and because in their world, medical nutrition is an afterthought. It's an afterthought. It's tertiary or quaternary. It's never primary care. Never, ever, ever is it primary care. They can't even conceptualize the notion that it should be, because to them, oh, it's all genetics. Oh, it's autoimmune, right? And my point here is that the medical doctor, bless their hearts, regardless of how nice they are colorblind. They are like colorblind art critics, but they don't know that they're colorblind. There is a wealth of information in the domain of the stuff that we know. This isn't in the domain of the stuff that we didn't know we didn't know. In the domain of the stuff that we know, they are colorblind to it. And this is why we're suffering and dying at alarming rates, because we visit MDs when we don't, have an acute condition. This is why we get sick. This is why our parents get sick. This is why our kids get sick. This is why limbs fall off. This is why there is gigantic amounts of suffering, because we took the wrong dog to the hunt. We went to a reductionistically trained physician with a chronic disease. And when you bring a chronic illness to a reductionistic physician, the best possible outcome would be a quick death, not a slow death, a quick death. Remember, MD-directed medical treatment's the leading cause of death in the United States, and this is why. Ladies and gentlemen, snap out of it, wake up, smell the coffee, and fire your MD now. 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. Lines open. If you're listening to the podcast or want information from a living, breathing human being about the health opportunity, the wealth opportunity, or how to get the stuff we talk about at the wholesale price, that number, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. You have tuned in. You have turned on. You have found your way to Fire Your MD Now. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden, and we are going right to the phones right now, going up to the fantastic state of Michigan to talk to Sandra. Hey, Sandra, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, how are you? I am live. I guess being alive, I could be sick in life. No, I'm just kidding. The best, you know what, the best prevention of getting sick is death.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway, just may I make a comment to what you said at the beginning of your show today, which was very interesting?
Yeah.
Well, I always thought that when a person, his mind is closed, then no new information can enter, okay?
Yeah.
It's like the doors are shut. And there's really only two motives, love and fear. That's it.
So people that have closed minds are afraid of something, right?
Sure. It's the fear.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Everything comes down to love or fear.
That's very interesting when you talk about it. Yeah, and it's also been my experience that the people that have a problem with our point of view, it's like the people that had a problem with banning slavery, well, they owned the slaves, right? So the people that have a problem with our position are people that have some type of skin in the game. of conventional medicine. Their mother's a doctor, their father's a doctor, their brother's a doctor, their cousin's a doctor, their uncle's a doctor. They work for the pharmaceutical industry or something, right? So, but I got to tell you, it's a very interesting experience for me to all of a sudden be right up in the face of prejudice like that. I mean, I haven't seen that up close and personal for a long time, a real long time, and it was a bit of an eye-opener. But in any event, I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate your point of view, Sandra. Now, how can I help?
You try to channel all of that, you know, that we have to put it all together. It's one big picture medicine, not different separate compartments. Anyway, so my question is, and I've been on the supplements quite a while, and I'm doing well and feeling better on it every day. I've noticed that I'm 56 years old. It's almost like I'm getting a second childhood here in terms of getting some pimples or something. It's,
oh, really?
You know, I don't, so I'm not sure. Do I need to cleanse maybe, or I'm not quite sure what's going on.
All right, very good. So where are you experiencing the pimples? Is it your face, your back, your shoulders, your legs?
My face.
Where is it? Your face? Okay. And was this something that you had when you were younger or not so much?
Yeah, a little bit. But, I mean, I never had it so bad like my brother did. I mean, I never had this horrible acne, you know. So, but I would get it, you know, when I got a zit, it was like, you know, it was like a monumental.
Oh, yeah. And that's starting to happen again. How long has that been going on for you now?
Let me think. I want to say about 3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Give or take, something like that.
Yeah. Was there anything new into the program that you added, you know, 3 months ago? Like you started the CM cream or you started the fucoidan, or was there anything new that you added into the program that you've been keeping at every day?
Let me think. Maybe the glucose gels, but that's been helping my little arthritis in my pinkies going away. I have no more pain, and I'm, you know, I don't know if you remember me calling in.
I do remember about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all better, and my digestion is better. I had that proctitis thing going on, but that I'm able to even, you know, drink this tangy tangerine now, no problem. I was having a problem before, but all of it seems to be getting better every day. So
interesting. Well, the thing that causes acne is there's a little bacteria that's living in the skin, and when the bacteria is fed, acne develops, and the main cause of that is too much sugar that's in the blood, too much sugar in the blood. So for 14 days, as an experiment, what I would do is I would completely eliminate all carbohydrates from your diet, including gluten-free stuff. So no more bread, even if it's gluten-free, no more cookies or crackers or pizza crust, nothing that's gluten-free. Just don't have any grains, any carbohydrates whatsoever for 14 days. And also cut way back on the amount of fruit juice or dried fruit. So if you're eating raisins every day, stop it. If you're eating or drinking, you know, 8 or 12 ounces of orange juice or apple juice or grape juice or grapefruit juice a day, stop it. If you're doing fresh squeezed vegetable juice or fresh squeezed fruit juice, especially if it's carrots, stop it. Just knock that stuff off for 14 days and see what happens to the acne. There's also another thing that you can do. There's a product that Longevity sells. It's developed and delivered through a Longevity subsidiary called PureWorks. And PureWorks has a hand sanitizer. They have soaps. They have skin creams, which have this really interesting antibacterial ingredient in them. And this stuff kills everything. Well, it doesn't kill everything, but almost everything. It's even been proven to kill MRSA, for goodness sake. So if you get this antibacterial soap and wash your face with it, and then get the PureWorks foam, get the foam, and rub that into your hands, and then put that on your face after you get out of the shower, and then do that, put the oil on a couple of more times there, the PureWorks foam on a couple of other times during the day. That has the same chemical in it that Accutane uses, and it's perfectly harmless. I mean, it doesn't mess up your liver. It doesn't mess up your kidney. All it does is kill bugs topically. So this would be a good thing to do, a combination of the PureWorks antibacterial soap and the PureWorks antibacterial foam from the outside, while you're really restricting big time the amount of carbohydrates that go in on the inside. Are carbos a big part of your day-to-day diet?
in the morning I have like about 5 eggs. I'll have just one small gluten-free waffle with it. I don't put any sugar on it. I don't need any sugar. The only sweet thing I have are those triple treat chocolates.
All right, how many of those do you eat in a day?
Maybe 3.
Okay, stop the triple treat chocolate for 14 days.
Oh, my God. I'm going to go.
I know. Sorry to say it.
Torture.
Yeah.
And then I do have fresh berries like blackberries, raspberries, blueberries in the morning with my breakfast. That's the only fruit I have.
Mm-hmm. But you've been doing that all along. You've been doing that all along, or is the fruit thing a new
I've been doing that all along. I've never been a big sugar eater.
That's interesting. And let me just double check something here, because there's a little bell in my brain that's going off here. I'm looking at the label on, there's 3 grams of sugar in one piece of the triple treat chocolate, so that's 9 grams of sugar a day. That could do it. I regret to tell you it may be the chocolate. Now, so stop the chocolate for 14 days and see what happens, regretfully. Now, if that is a problem, there's a potential workaround. Get a bottle of sweeties and use the sweeties every day. Are you waking up in the middle of the night and you're wide awake, or do you get sleepy after you eat a meal during the day?
Notice in the morning after breakfast, a couple hours later, I sometimes feel like I need to lay down a half an hour, but then I'm fine for the rest of the day. In the night, I'm starting to sleep much better since I seem to be acclimating better to the calcium, Cal-Toddy that I'm taking. So
are you taking any sweeties at all?
No, but maybe I should get some.
Yeah, so given those 2 situations, and this is another very interesting thing to talk about, because, you know, when people, especially in their 40s or in their 50s or in their 60s, show up and they talk to us, you know, they've got 40, 50, and 60 years worth of damage to undo. And so they'll have multiple problems. People will, like you, right? You had digestive issues, you had problems pooping, you had problems with your joints, and this thing with sleep also. So as we've gone down the track, the body unwinds itself, so to speak, and things start to get better one thing at a time. And as some things go away, the stuff that's left rises in prominence, so to speak. So it's entirely possible and extremely probable that you've had a low-grade blood sugar issue for a long time, and now that everything else is clearing up and getting better, but the blood sugar hasn't been really hacked yet, we haven't gotten on the other side of that yet, the blood sugar stuff is standing out in bold face now. So that's probably what it is. So I would eliminate the triple treat chocolate just for 14 days, okay, and start the sweeties. And I would just get 1 bottle of sweeties and do, well, actually, how much do you weigh?
115.
All right, so 1 bottle of sweeties. And do 4 of the sweeties with, as soon as you get up in the morning. Do 4 sweeties. Keep them right by your bed. Swallow 4 sweeties right after your feet touch the ground. That'll probably be about a half an hour or so before you eat breakfast, which is a good thing. And then look to see if your energy after breakfast improves, number 1. And then number 2, if your skin improves. And then number 3, if it helps you to sleep more during the night. And that's how I would handle that.
Okay.
All right.
So just in the morning take the sweeties.
Yeah, I would just take it in the morning for now. 1 bottle, there's 120 caps in it. So if you take 4 a day, that'll last you 1 month. And given your history and the way that your symptoms are presenting, I would advise you to just take 4 sweeties first thing in the morning when you wake up. That should be sufficient to the cause for someone who's, 118 pounds. You can always take more. You can always take more, but that's how I would start to see whether or not it gives you traction. Now, if after 14 days of this you start to experience an improvement in this regard, then keep taking the sweeties and add the triple treat chocolate again and see if the acne comes back. And then if the acne comes back, you've got 2 things you can do. You can either add more sweeties, right, or cut back on the triple treat chocolate, so eat a half a piece twice a day or whatever. Excuse me, but that's the basic understanding here, is that we're trying to mess around and optimize your blood sugar metabolism And we do that, number one, by cutting down on the amount of extracurricular sugar that we're eating, i.e. triple treat chocolate. And number two, by increasing your body's ability to metabolize sugar efficiently with sweeties. And it's entirely possible that it's not a problem that the amount of sugar that you're eating is perfectly fine, but because your body can't metabolize it efficiently, it's showing up like it's too much sugar in the blood, just because it's like a 4-lane highway that's gone down to 1 lane. Even if it's a normal amount of traffic, when you hit a bottleneck like that, everything's going to slow up. So moving forward, if you're smart about this, you should be able to dial in a nice balance between the sweeties consumption and the triple treat chocolate, because we love that stuff, for goodness sake. 17,000 ORAC points in one piece of chocolate plus probiotics. I mean, that is a most remarkably awesome supplement. I'm sure that you'll be able to get at least one piece in your body eventually, but that's how I would handle that for the next 4 weeks, Sandra. Sound good to me?
The best chocolate on the whole market. It's the best tasting chocolate in the world, in my opinion.
I know, and it's like, and it's effective, metabolically effective, right? I mean, it's like, holy crap, it's good for you and it tastes good. Whoa, what just happened, right? What planet am I on? Hey, Sandra, you're the greatest. You're up against the break. Thanks so much for your trust. Thanks so much for everything that you do. Now go out there and get her done. 866-582-9933. Lines open. We are hot-blooded 24/7 because people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. And guess what? There's a new sheriff in town. That would be me. Marie from California has been on hold for a while. Hey, Marie, thanks for sticking around. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I'm on longevity for 2.5 months now, but I have been getting dripping nose. And then I have, my doctor said I have little cataracts on my left eye. So what nutrients that I'm lacking of?
Okay. So is the runny nose a constant thing, or does it come and go? Does anybody else in the family have it, or what's going on with that?
No, it's come and go. I mean, sometimes even a really warm day, hot day, I still have it. I don't know.
Are you the only person in the house that has it, or do other people have it too?
My husband has a little bit too.
And have you had this for a long time, or only for a little while? How long have you been dealing with it?
For a little while now. In like 6 months, I would say. And my doctor gave me something to spray my nose to dry it up. And I didn't want to use it.
Yeah, don't use it, yeah. The first thing that I would do is I would go to somebody else's house for 3 days, or go, to a hotel or a motel for 3 days, get out of your house for 3 days in a row, and see if the nose thing goes away, and then see if when you come back into the house it comes back. It sounds to me like it's related. Well, it's impossible to diagnose stuff over the phone, right? Yeah, you just can't do that. But if I had to take a wild guess at this, I would say that it's related to something in your house that you're allergic to. There might be some mold in the house that you're not aware of. There might be something somewhere that's causing your nose to react like this. I mean, did you get a water leak into the house lately, or has there been any type of water damage in where you live? No, nothing like that?
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a burning eyes, like my eyes like watery, I'm not sure. But the last couple of weeks, I don't have it. I just have the wet nose.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds to me like an allergic reaction. And, well, one thing that you can do with longevity to kind of mitigate the symptoms and to support and promote the immune system of your body when it's faced with the onslaught of an allergen is the Cell Shield RTQ. So if you get the Cell Shield RTQ, how much do you weigh, Marie? How much do you weigh?
84 pounds.
84?
Yes.
Oh boy, you're teeny weeny, huh? Hope it's not windy out there. You're going to blow away 84 pounds.
Oh. You see, I'm pretty strong.
I bet you are. 84 pounds of muscle and bone. There you go. So I would do 1 Cell Shield RTQ 3 times a day between meals. 1 Cell Shield RTQ 3 times a day between meals. See if that helps. And also, go away for the weekend. Get out of the house for 3 days. See if the runny nose goes away, and then see if it comes back when you get back into the house. If it does, then there's something in the house that you're allergic to.
You get it.
Yeah, does that make sense?
No, but I'm saying that last year when I went to my daughter's house in Southern California, you get it.
Oh, you still get it. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the same time of the year?
Yeah. I pretty much have it all year round. It's not just like for only summertime or wintertime. It's all year round that I'm not sick, but then I always get wet nose and, something dripping.
Uh-huh. What's your blood type? Do you know what your blood type is?
A.
A. All right. And have you eliminated wheat, barley, rye, and oats yet? Have you gone gluten-free yet?
I have.
Okay. How long have you been gluten-free?
Maybe a couple months.
Okay. And the eye thing got better in a couple of months, but the nose thing is still there, right?
Yeah, the eye's a little better because 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I was like really bad, and.
Yeah. Okay. So if you continue with the gluten-free diet and you add the Cell Shield RTQ, this should go away slowly with time. And if you've had it for a long time, then, it's going to take a while for it to get better. It sounds to me like it's related to a food allergy. And once you eliminate the 10 bad foods, add the nutritional supplements, go gluten-free plus everything else, then your immune system starts to fix itself and the allergic stuff in your blood starts to come down. But that's a slow and steady race. So take the Cell Shield RTQ, maintain the discipline, and when we come back from the break, I'll tell you what to do to support